There is a website that offers its users the choice to experience the ultimate horror. This website, called blindmaiden.com, is supposedly dedicated to a doomed spirit that will enter the home of people who have viewed it. However, no matter how hard you try, your browser won't allow you to enter the site. To access it, you must wait until exactly 12 a.m., making sure that the night in question is a new moon night. You must also be on your own in your home with all the lights turned off. Only when these conditions are met will you be granted access to the site. As soon as you enter, you will see a montage of pictures being displayed quickly. These images are of boys and girls without eyes and faces that are twisted in tremendous fear. After that, text will appear on the monitor saying, "This website will take you to a whole new level of horror. A horror that will use all 5 of your senses. You must be very careful not to click on anything. By accident, you will be faced with a real experience of absolute horror. Click the accept button to engage actively in the experience. If you click decline, you will be rewarded with access to the entire archive of these gruesome images. A gore site, pretty much. Click accept, however, and there will be no turning back. You have sealed your fate, and trust me, you will experience the ultimate horror. Upon accepting, you will see a sinister silhouette walking towards your home on your monitor. The spirit will then approach and enter the same room that you are in. You will then see your own back on the monitor and feel a presence behind you. Suddenly, you will feel somebody tapping on your shoulder, and as you turn around, you will see the blind maiden's face and scream in terror. And that will be the last thing you do, as she will then kill you. The blind maiden will then pluck your eyes out and take a photo of your face. Congratulations, you have successfully completed the ritual. As a reward, that photo will forever be part of the website's picture gallery, just like all the other photos of people who are stupid or curious enough to press the accept button. And yes, if you are a thrill seeker, then you will love the last few moments of your life. This story happened on the bleak night of November 14th, 1995. In Beijing, China, an old man, some say an old woman, was waiting at a bus stop at midnight, making conversation with the only other person at the bus stop, a quiet, young gentleman. When the midnight bus 375, the last bus for Route 375 from the Yangming-Huan bus terminus finally came, they both boarded it. The old man took a seat near the front of the bus, while the young man sat a couple of rows behind him. There were no other passengers along with them, except for the driver and a female ticket collector. After a while, the driver spotted 2 shadows by the side of the road, waving at the bus. He stopped, and when the doors opened, 3 people got in. 2 men who were supporting a third between them, holding him up by his shoulders. The man in the middle looked disheveled, and his head was bowed so that nobody could see his face. There was a dismal, calm atmosphere inside the bus. Shortly after that, the old man picked a fight with the young man under some silly pretense of stealing his wallet. The altercation escalated, and the bus driver forced them both off the bus. When they got off, the bus zoomed away. The old man was no longer angry. He told the young man that he had saved their lives. Those 3 new passengers did not have feet. They were floating. They were not living people, he said. After that, they went to the nearest police station to report what had happened, but nobody believed them. The very next day, the bus company issued a statement. Last night, the final bus of Route 375 vanished, along with the driver and ticket lady. The police immediately chased down the old man and the young man, who were initially assumed to be mentally ill when they tried to report the incident earlier. They were both interviewed on the news. On the 3rd day, the police discovered the missing bus in a water reservoir about 100 kilometers away from its destination, Jiangshan, or so-called Fragrant Hills. Inside the bus were 3 very badly decomposed corpses. The mysteries surrounding this finding include the fact that the bus did not have enough petrol to go that far after a whole day's worth of travel, the fact that the petrol tank was filled with fresh blood instead of fuel, the fact that the corpses found were too decomposed for just 48 hours. Even if it was summer, the process of decomposition would not be this quick. An autopsy confirmed that there had been no intentional meddling with the bodies. The fact that even after the police went through all the security cameras set up around the various entrances to the reservoir, they found nothing out of ordinary. To this day, it remains an unsolved mystery. It was around 3 a.m. this June. I was on Skype with this cute girl I encountered on a forum a month ago. We were discussing about strange things that happened to me recently. Doors shutting, lamps turning on and off, even objects falling from the furniture. She was talking about a ghost or a poltergeist who might have fun with this kind of stuff. But even though I felt paranoid, being paralyzed by the slightest noise, I couldn't believe in these stories. Well, that was what I've told myself all along, something I knew I could regret sooner or later. I was in the dark and I felt a little uncomfortable after our long debate on the subject. I decided it was time to refresh myself. I got up and entered my bathroom, then washed my hands to make sure the water wasn't too cold. I stared at my reflection for a moment. After a brief hesitation, I bent over and splashed the water over my face. Then, I felt something unusual, like a slight airflow. I looked behind me. The door was closed. Did I shut the door when I entered the bathroom? I couldn't remember. I took a towel and proceeded to dry my face, unable to see a thing. While doing so, I heard a knock on a glass-like object. At first, I thought it was coming from the mirror, but there was nothing except my reflection staring back at me. I put the towel back on the towel holder and opened the door. When I saw something in the corner of my eye and heard a little noise, like something had moved behind me, I quickly looked back at the bathroom. At first, I looked at the mirror, but I then noticed the towel was on the floor, right in front of the bath. I was about to pick it up, but as I approached, I felt more and more uncomfortable. I could not stop staring at the shower curtain. Then I heard a second knock, the same as before, but I realized it wasn't coming from the mirror, nor the bathroom. I turned around and headed back to my room, letting the towel on the floor. Now almost back to my bed, I felt like something was watching me. I looked through the window, but there was nothing unusual. I took my computer and asked my buddy if she had heard the knocks on the glass, or if it was her. "Yes, I did hear it," she said. "You still do not believe in poltergeist stuff?" I admitted having doubts about what I told her earlier. She then got up and said, "I'll be right back," and left the room. She left the door slightly open, which made me uncomfortable for a moment. But then I heard this noise again, a knock on the glass of my window. I felt too paranoid at first and did not dare to take a look. I thought it was my imagination, but it knocked a second time. I looked up from my screen only to find something was standing still behind my window, staring, grinning. I almost felt like it was laughing at me. My monitor was the only light source in the room. I could hardly see its face, but its smile petrified me for a moment. After a few seconds, I heard a door open and footsteps. I could barely catch my breath when I heard, "Hey, I'm back." I looked back at the screen and understood it was only my buddy that got back on her computer. I told her I had to show her the first thing that was staring at me, but it had faded away before I could rotate my webcam. "Did it really scare you?" she said. "I thought you didn't believe in those things." Her reaction made me curious. Why was she so excited about this? I was so lost in my reflection that I thought I imagined what she said next. "Boo," said the ghost, and he disappeared before I could even react. The screen went black for a moment. It soon got back to normal, but something was different on the screen. It wasn't the excited girl's face anymore. I saw a man sitting on his bed, facing the computer. In fact, the scene was very familiar until I recognized it. It was my bedroom. On the verge of panic, I was still able to notice something odd. The angle from which was taken in the image of my bedroom, it was as if something was right outside my window, filming that exact moment. I looked through the window for a second before turning around to face my screen again. The delay let me see myself stare back at me through the webcam. The screen went back to the girl I've been talking to for the past month, except this time, she was in near pitch black. She got closer to the camera and didn't do much for a few seconds. Still frightened from what had just happened, I didn't move, waiting for her to say something. But she remained silent. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand until she started grinning.